You know, saying people coming here, they might not know the way we behave in this country, and we need to make allowances.
I understand that, but I think if you make an intention to reside in another country, you have to familiarise yourself with their laws, their rules and their customs. I think, you know, there are plenty of laws and rules in other countries that we don't necessarily have here. For instance, if I went to Saudi Arabia and drove a car, I'd be thrown into jail. Now, that is information that, you know, I should know before I go to the country, and I think it's a bit of a double standard and a little bit, just a little bit ridiculous. I understand that people may not know, but, you know, familiarise yourself, especially if you want to live here.
I mean, what about your culture, your family, Jamaican?
Yeah, I'm Jamaican,
so would that have been a culture of children getting smacked for misbehaving?
I mean, I grew up in a Jamaican household around Jamaican people, and it is culturally okay to smack your children, but when you live in England, it's not, and that's the rule that everyone has to adhere to. And I think I don't ever see that it was a problem, especially when it became a law here. I don't recall anyone going against it, and definitely not being let off for it. I don't think there should be.
This man in this case, the father, came to Britain 10 years ago. So that's he's had 10 years to get to know what's legal and illegal. And obviously the law about smacking children was passed in 2004. So it's not exactly a new piece of legislation.
I think for him, but if it was a case of a family who have just arrived in this country...
Well, right, we should have a banner at all entrance ports, all airports, ports, everywhere there people are coming in to Britain that says, fit in or get lost. Because I love the fact that people from all over the world live here, and I do think it's enriched our society. So please don't think that's a racist statement.
But shouldn't you acknowledge that they have got a different cultural background?
And therefore,
I'm not saying make allowances for very long. I'm saying should you just give them a bit of time to get used to?
You shouldn't have to smack children. They should know by the tone of your voice, or if I give them a look, they know.
Yeah,
did you never smack yours?
No, never smacked them. I used to squeeze their hand.
They don't need to be smacked.
I was giving them a little squeeze, and they knew then to stop whatever they were doing. But I've been out loads of times. I was in IKEA like a few months ago, and there was a bloke in there, and he had two kids with him, one in a pushchair and one little girl that was being quite naughty. And I just see him slap, and I went, "Oi! You're a lot bigger than her, what are you doing?" And he just looked at me and he looked quite embarrassed and ashamed at what he'd done. He'd sort of lost it. And we all lose it now and again. But by losing it like that, you're out of control.
Exactly.
You know, like you need
the thing is, it's interesting because you don't see it that much anymore. Since you said 2004, when we were told, you know, this you can't do this anymore.
It's not okay.
We used to see people smacking their kids a lot.
I grew up with my Welsh granny who didn't ever hit us, but every summer holiday she made a birch rod and put it over the door of her cottage, and I went there for my school holidays every year, and as I arrived, she'd just point at it. And you know, that, in a way, that's much cleverer. You know, it frightens you.
I definitely don't believe in hitting kids. I don't believe in anyone hitting anyone. I think, you know, violence is not a good environment for anyone, particularly, you know, you're living in fear in that way, and I know people might think, oh, I grew up with it and it didn't harm me. I really think that, you know, we can communicate better with our children.
Yes,
and
times have changed a lot, haven't they? And you can't always just say, well, that's how we always used to do it. Julie says attitudes to corporal punishment have changed over the years, but we should remember that this isn't the case in all countries. So this man may not know better, or maybe that man is not the best case.
No, if you're here on holiday,
maybe.
If you're here on holiday, then fair enough. Yeah. But if you're intending to live here, no.
Ellen says, how ridiculous. Before long, we'll be condoning everything. We're in Britain. We should not be changing our judicial system to suit other cultures. This is an absolute joke. Danielle says, yet again, we're questioning ourselves and our own laws in fear of being considered racist.
I think if people apply to be British citizens, I'm sure this is part of the citizenship test. I'm sure that people who want to become British citizens have to answer questions on this, because it is really important.
As my mum used to say, you beat the devil into him, and I think that's true. You really do.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, I have to say most of the comments we've had for you are saying it's ridiculous. You know, if you come here, then you have to abide by our culture.